Welcome back, everybody, to the Wrapped Up Podcast. I'm Eli Swice, and I'm here with.
Ethan Holesha.
And today we're going to be going over our top 10 albums so far. We're halfway through the year. And yeah, we're just excited to get into it. First off, just want to
Yep.
say, rest in peace, Pop Smoke. Very good album.
R.I.P.
Guys, haven't checked it out,
Rest
make sure
in
you do.
peace.
And also, one album that would probably make the top three of our list if we did this a week later. Juice WRLD's album, Legends Never Die, coming
Yeah.
out this Thursday night. So make sure to check that out. And
We will
yeah, so
definitely be talking about that one for
yeah, for sure.
sure.
So hopefully you guys are having a great day or night whenever you're watching this. And I think we want to thank you for the support on our
Yeah, for
last
sure.
podcast. We got a ton of views on it for some reason, so we just appreciate the support. And if you guys are enjoying it, just make sure to like, comment, and share if you enjoy. And yeah, I'm excited to get into this. Let's just get into it right now. We'll start off with you. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
for
we have a
sure.
few honorable mentions, and then we're just going to go through our top 10. Let us know down below what you guys think of the list and what your favorite albums were so far. And yeah, you can just kick it off.
So, I actually have 5 honorable mentions aside from my top 10 list. The first one is the Lil Durk album, Just Cause Y'all Waited Too. This was actually the first Durk project that I listened to all the way through. It
Yeah.
wasn't bad. There were definitely some good songs on there. I remember the one with G Herbo really stuck out to me, and then there were a few solo songs that I keep going back to. But as a project overall, definitely not top 10 for me, but definitely solid project from Lil Durk. Like I said, it was my first one that I listened to, and I'm not a huge Lil Durk fan, but it was just a solid, pretty good project. Next I know you're gonna disagree with this, but Good Intentions by Nav did not make
Yeah.
my top 10. I've stated before on this podcast, I'm not the biggest Nav fan. I like him on features a lot, and I think he's a really good feature artist. But for me, just sitting there, especially with the deluxe, because I didn't listen to Nav's album right when it came out, so I listened to the whole deluxe. Like, so it was all the deluxe and then all of his album like at once. That may have brought it down a little bit for me just because it's like the volume was so much. But again, like I said, I'm not the biggest Nav fan, so there were definitely some good songs on there, but the majority of the time I was kind of bored, to be honest with you. I really like the songs he had with features on there though. Like the song with him and Pop Smoke was great. He had a song with Don Toliver, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that one was really good. Song with Uzi, obviously, because I mean, 2020 is basically that man's year. But yeah, Good Intentions by Nav is outside of my top 10. Had to show it some love because there's definitely some good songs on there with
Yeah,
some
I just
replay
wanted
value.
to say real quick. I definitely think listening through the deluxe and then the regular album definitely didn't do you well. I think I think just when an album releases and you don't listen to it until the deluxe comes out, I think it's best to just listen to the actual album first. Because I'm gonna be
Yeah,
honest, like I'm a big Neff fan, and Good Intentions is high on my list. I did not like the deluxe at all, so I think listening through the deluxe first definitely might have bored you, and especially when you're listening to like 30 something songs in a row,
yeah,
you're definitely gonna get bored, which is why I understand. So I'm fine with that.
yeah. To continue my honorable mention, album just came out a couple days ago, Pop Smoke. Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. The only reason I'm putting it in my honorable mentions is because it's so fresh.
Hmm.
So I don't really have a I don't know. I feel like it's just too. I don't have my
I
mind wrapped
agree.
around
I
the
agree
whole album
completely.
yet.
It's not
I
even a
don't have
week
my.
yet.
It's literally been, let's see,
Like
4
3 days,
days,
4 days.
maybe
Yeah.
3 4 days. Yeah, and it's a great album. I loved it, and the features were good. Pop sounded really. I think the only problem I had with the album was the hook on Snitchin'. Quavo's Quavo's hook. That may be the laziest hook I've ever heard in my life, but that's Quavo. That's not even pop. So, um, yeah, it's too fresh because I know that I'm gonna slowly start to get my favorite songs. I don't even have songs that like really. There's some that stick out, but it's so like early. It came out a couple days ago. It's so hard to say. And when we had this idea of doing this podcast, like I kind of set my list before. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to just throw this one in there. It's definitely going to take a few weeks for me to really know where it stands, but I had to show it some love because
Yeah.
first of all, it's Pop Smoke. Great artist. His life ended way too quickly. And it's not even like some of these songs could have been incomplete and they kind of just threw an artist on there to finish the track, which sucks, but I mean, it sounded like a complete album to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this Pop Smoke album did not make my top 10, but moving on, Lil Yachty, sorry, Lil Yachty, Lil Boat 3, that was an honorable mention for me. There was definitely a few solid songs on there, but for me personally, I just don't go back to this album in my free time. I just don't. The song with Rocky and Tyler is really good for me, but I mean, aside from that, this album doesn't have a whole lot of replay value. It surprised me a little bit because he did exceed my expectations, but they were really low for this album because
Hmm.
I mean, for me, Yachty's been kind of falling off a cliff the last year plus. I mean, the album didn't sell well, but then you got artists like Smoke Perp and Blueface who absolutely shit the bed.
Yeah.
Rich the Kid as well. I think he sold like 12,000. Yachty did 33, but for like a household name like Lil Yachty, I feel like that's not great. And I know sales aren't everything when you're reviewing an album, but I mean, it was good, but like we said when the album came out, he kind of just like I thought this would be a make or break kind of thing. Like he was either gonna flop or do really well, and he didn't do either. He kind of just stayed the same. He's kind of like falling off in the process of. So I mean, we'll see what he does from here. The album was fine, but it wasn't anything special for me. And to close out my honorable mentions, I have Drake Dark Lane demo tapes. That did not make my top 10 because, I mean, it was kind of a throwaway album. There was some really good songs in there, Chicago Freestyle. War came out before. Um, Pain, actually, I said I liked Atme more. I really like Pain now. And Cardi's verse is actually like really growing on me because
That's
you could
cool.
actually understand what he's saying. Like the past week, that song's had so much replay value on my phone. I don't know what it is, just the way he comes in. I like, I don't know, bro. It actually works, and I didn't realize that like throughout the whole song, he's got ad libs in the background, and he really plays off Drake's energy well. Yeah, so that's honestly, I don't know. That might be my favorite song from the tape now. Just I don't know why, but Cardi's really, I don't know. His feature's growing on me because I kind of heard it at first, and I'm like, here we go again, like Cardi, high pitched voice. But like when you really listen to it, it's a good song.
Yeah.
It's a very good song.
Agreed.
2C Slides on there. I actually really like that song, even though it's kind of a meme. Yeah, it was a solid tape, but Demons, yeah, just wasn't it wasn't an album clearly because we're still waiting for this Drake album to come out this summer.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's Drake. You can't really go wrong with Drake, so I had to show him some love. All right, now the top 10 albums for me in 2020. At number 10, we have A Boogie with the Hoodie Artist 2.0. This actually dropped off for me because of the deluxe. Like the deluxe probably took this one down a few bars for me because if Boogie had a strong deluxe on this album, I mean, you could arguably put it in your top 10, but the fact that he waited so long and then the deluxe was, I mean, we recorded it. I don't think you ever uploaded that video, but it was trash. It was some hot trash. The album itself, when it came out, it had a lot of replay value. Me and My Guitar. He had 2 songs with Uzi on there. He had Numbers with Gunna and Roddy Ricch. Like all these songs were great. He had a ton of great songs on there, but I don't know. It kind of came out. I think it came out in February maybe, and I don't know. Just ever since it came out, it's kind of slowly been falling off my rotation list. With all the new music coming out and everything, and I mean, it made my top 10, so it's obviously a good album, but definitely on the lower tier for me.
Okay.
Number 9, we have Future High Off Life. I do go back. I know, I know you weren't a huge fan, but the more I go back to this album, there's more and more songs that have some replay value. There's some bangers on there that I use like when I'm working out. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like there's some songs that just get you hyped up, and the features were pretty good on this album. Again, like you gave me that face, but it's still like number 9 and it's Future. So it's like that's kind of saying something.
Yeah.
If Future like didn't make the top 10 for me for this list, then that would be like really bad. But Future's kind of just like he's an older rapper. You'd say he's probably in his mid 30s. He's clearly an established artist. Like clearly, he's influenced the new wave generation. I mean, Uzi literally calls himself Baby Pluto, which is um Future's alter ego. But yeah, High Off Life at 9. I did enjoy it a little more than A Boogie's as time's gone on, but that's just me personally. Number 8 we have Blame It on Baby by DaBaby. Very solid album. I was pleasantly surprised when this came out. I remember he didn't really preview the album a whole lot. Like it was kind of like a week before, and he's like, "All right, I'm just dropping this album," and I'm like, "Okay, fuck it." Like that's great news because he released an album right at the beginning of the school year. I'd say around like
September.
September, October, somewhere around there. That was a really good album. Kirk was great. Um, I think Kirk was a little better than this
I
album,
agree. Yep.
but Blame It on Baby was still pretty good. The more you go back to some of the songs, you got Pick Up with Quavo. That's a very catchy song. Rockstar's a TikTok song, but it's a great song. Don't get me wrong. Like the music video just came out and everything. That was very powerful. And then he has the Black Lives Matter edition, and he was spitting on there. I know that's not really on the album, but it's still kind of the song from the album. Um, I don't know. The Baby, I really like the Baby as an artist. People kind of hate on him for using the same flow, but if it's not broke, don't fix it. That's what I say. Um, just I don't know. Pretty solid album. Not his best work, but I mean it's up there. I'd say because I haven't listened to every DaBaby album because he's only been popping probably since early 2019, but definitely a good project overall. Number 7, I have G Herbo PTSD. This album surprised me a lot. Definitely some solid songs in there, some hard hitting songs. Intro with the beat and the way it comes in, it's a really great song. Um, Speaking of intro, I don't know why I always feel like Roddy Ricch's album came out in 2020, but it was
Oh,
like December
yeah.
2019. You could argue and say that was like that's definitely one of the best albums of last year, like for
Oh, for
sure.
sure.
I feel like Roddy Ricch's album. But besides that, I just want to say it's a 2020 album, but it's not. PTSD, obviously the title track's great. I think he had a song was Lawyer Fees, right? That was on here. That was a great song. Um, what else? The deluxe was pretty good too. That's the song he just dropped the music video with Uzi. I think it's called Like This or
Mhm.
something. That's a very hard hitting song with a good beat. Um, I'm having trouble remembering like a ton of specific songs, but I just remember like my first time through, I'm like, wow, this was really solid. And you could tell G Herbo's like he's rapping from the heart with this one because even with the cover, just all of his dead friends on there. There's like 50 of them. It's like, damn, this guy's gone through a lot of shit. Like really.
Yeah.
So this is probably one of the best G Herbo albums I've ever heard. And yeah, number 7 for me. Number 6, when I was making my list, I completely forgot about this album when it came out, and that just I haven't forgot about it because I've been going back to it a lot, but I just forgot to put it on my list originally for some reason. And that's Ian Dior, I'm Gone. Literally every song on this album is enjoyable. Like it's it's a very short 9, I think it's 9 songs, like 27 minutes or something, but very enjoyable. Every track is very enjoyable. The MGK, he kills his feature. And I'm not a huge fan of MGK, but the two of them together sound so fire. The song with Lil Baby's great. Um, Sickness, I think that's the harder hitting song. That's really good. Um, I don't know. He's already got a few TikTok songs. He's got his songs in the Nelk videos. Like I said it would happen. And I think the past 2 or 3 videos they've used songs from this album. So it's like it's just like feel good summer music. There's no other way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
So short album, but short but sweet. Very sweet. Ian Dior, I'm Gone at number 6. Number 5, I have Wanna by Gunna. Um, Very solid album. This was when this came out, I replayed it a lot. I don't know what else to say. It's kind of everything I expected from Gunna and more. Um, Seeing it at number 5 is kind of like weird for me still because, but then I realize what albums are above it, and I'm like, okay. Um, I originally put this above Lil Baby's album, but I decided to change my mind just because of the deluxe for Lil Baby that came out. And I mean, these two artists, they're so different, but they're kind of interchangeable in a sense because of the chemistry they have together. Like for me, when I think of Lil Baby, I think about Gunna, and then vice versa, the same because they literally have a project together, which is great, by the way. And every time they hop on a track together, it's fire. And the Thug features on this album are great. Most of the features on this album are great. And Argentina, like Sky Skybox, right? That was a single that came out before. Just a very vibey, extremely vibey album. And from Gunna, that's all you really need. You need melodic music and just a ton of replay value on this album. So I got Wanna coming in at number 5. And number 4, My Turn by Lil Baby. Um, great album, very great album. The original album that came out, Living Off My Closet or Live Off My Closet with Future, that's still my favorite song from the album. Um, what else do we got? Commercial by Lil Uzi. That might be the most successful song, not by Lil Uzi, featuring Lil Uzi, but
Emotionally
that might be
scarred.
that. Huh?
Emotionally scarred.
Yeah.
And
And then We Paid, of course, from the
yeah,
deluxe.
Heat Up
That's
featuring Gunna is also very underrated.
very, very good songs. Yeah, I don't know. The features were great on this album. Ton of replay value. I still go back to it, and I don't know if it's still right now the number one album in the country, but the fact that it came back the way it did, I think that has a lot to do with the shit. What was the song that Lil Baby came out with?
Bigger picture.
Yes, I think it had a lot to do with that because he opened up his audience to, I'd say, older crowds because I saw a lot of older people like reacting to that video, older rappers, and just nothing but positivity because Lil Baby's, you could argue he's a mumble rapper, whatever, I don't care because I listen to quote unquote mumble rappers. Um, he's clearly not. He's clearly a good rapper. He just has an Atlanta accent, and I don't know. This album was good. I really liked the Social Distancing. I think that was one of the songs, right? The deluxe was good. The album was great. Number 4 for me because there was only, I mean, there's a few songs on the deluxe where I was like, okay, it's just all right, but overall, it was a great tape. Now, number 3. Now
Top
we're getting
three,
into
baby.
the big boys. Pop Smoke, Meet the Woo 2. That's my number 3 album of the year. It almost feels like this album came out in 2019 because I remember like at Moraine, I would just blast this. Every song through the album, like I would listen to it multiple times a day when it came out because literally the first time I heard this album was the day before Pop died, and I was like, fuck, man. I remember you texted me, you're like, no. I'm like, what happened? Like literally, first time I listened to this guy's album was the day before, and now he just passed away. I think he posted his address or something. It was just like a very unfortunate thing that happened. But I mean, dude, this album's ridiculous. You got a ton of big songs. You got a lot of his biggest songs on there. You got Shake the Room. You got Dior, Foreigner. The Dior remix is great. I don't know, just every Invincible. I don't know, man. This album really stuck with me, and I see myself going back to it more and more now. And even like when this tape dropped, I finished the Pop Smoke album this morning because I kept getting interrupted every time, and I really wanted to just sit there and listen to it all the way through. And it's great, but Meet the Woo 2 is just like, because I listened to his first album and that was pretty solid, but Meet the Woo 2 is my favorite Pop Smoke album, like by far. And
Agreed.
I don't know, ton like I was in the gym, I remember, and I was just like literally I played the whole album. And I was just hyped like the whole time. It's just music that like you want to turn up to. And I think he was 20, right, when he passed. So young, literally. And you could just tell he had like, one of our friends said it best. I think it was Yusef, and he said he has an old soul like kind of feeling to him.
Yeah.
And he was like he moved people like 50 Cent and just older rappers who have been in the game for a while, and you could tell he was really like he really included his roots from New York a lot. The New York beats, those were the hardest beats out. Literally, just like the 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 deep bass in the background and kind of like the off timing beats. Pop literally has the perfect voice. Him and like 504 and they have the perfect voice for those beats, especially Pop Smoke. Like I remember you hyping him up, like trying to put me on for the longest. We listened to Jack Boys in your basement in late 2019, and Gotti was like, "That song's fantastic." Um, I don't know, it's just a tragedy. And seeing that his album came out and Juice's is about to come out, it's like I can't believe these artists are gone, man. It's ridiculous the impact that they had in their short lives. I mean, early 20s, it's crazy. But Meet the Woo 2, that's a top 3 album for me of the year, number 3 for me. Um, Number 2, Polo G the GOAT. Um, I felt like I felt a lot of emotions when I was listening to this album because Polo is like he's just one of those artists where he is always rapping from the heart. He's always rapping about his life. Dude's young, but he's been through some shit, man. Holy, like I don't know whether it's rapping about his time like in the streets, his drug use that he's trying to stop using, police brutality. Like the last song in that album is so fire, absolutely ridiculous. Like you got to have a lot of balls to sample a Tupac song, but he killed it. Like
Hmm.
he's another one of those artists that has like an older soul. Like he doesn't rap about. He's got a few club bangers. Like I guess you could say "Pop Out," "Go Stupid," but those songs are great. Like you can't even knock him for those because it's not like all right, he's selling out. Like that's not what he usually raps about. You got songs like 21, 33. Um, I don't know. This album was if Uzi didn't drop this year, because clearly, I mean,
Hmm.
clearly it's gonna be my favorite album. But Polo G is just he's one of those artists that hasn't missed yet, and he's young and he still has a lot of time, but to develop as an artist. But I don't know, man. For me, he's already an established artist, and it's just crazy. It's so weird. He kind of came out of nowhere. Pop Out was late 2018 or early 2019. I want to say it was 2018.
Yeah, maybe
Is
early 2019, maybe like
okay.
January, February.
Yeah. So, I mean, he hasn't been out for that long. His first album was fantastic. This album was just like you listen to it and you're like, I'm really listening to something that's kind of historic right now. I felt that way when I was listening to Astro World. I felt that way when I was listening to Eternal Take. I had the same feeling with Polo G. Like there's some albums you listen to and you're like, dude, like what did I just listen to? Like in the best way possible. It kind of like it just I don't know. This album moved me a lot, and it just I don't know. It almost leaves you speechless. Definitely my second favorite album of the year. Like by far, this is way above the rest of the list. And then this last album for me. I mean, I don't even with Juice's album coming out. I just don't think anything's gonna top this because Lil Uzi Vert's been my favorite artist since August of 2016. That's when I discovered him. So I was a sophomore. I was a sophomore in high school. I just started my sophomore year, and I'm about to be a sophomore in college. So that's about 4 years that he's been my favorite artist. I waited 2.5 fucking years for this album. It comes out. I just remember waking up. You're texting me. You're like, dude, like it dropped, whatever. I'm like, no way. So I check Apple Music. It's not on there. I go to YouTube and I see all the songs. I'm like, holy fuck, dude. And this was my last day of school in person that I had of the semester. It was on a Friday, and it was like Friday morning at 9:15 a.m. or something so weird. Like I woke up and you texted me 15 minutes before. Literally put my speaker in my bathroom. I turn on Baby Pluto, just the way he hops on and starts rapping right away. I'm like, "Oh my god, dude, like this is ridiculous." And then when the beat drop, I'm like, "This album's going to be so fire." Um Not only that, just the first time I listened to all the songs, like you could tell when an album's good. And when cuz like for me, like there's some Uzi songs where I'm like, I like them a little bit, but I knew I wasn't forcing myself to like the album. I'm like, "This is really good," because I saw mixed reviews on the album, like, as I was listening to it, I was on Twitter and everybody was talking about it, like, literally everybody was posting the album. Did 325K first week, that's fucking absurd. I'm pretty sure that's the highest. He did more than he did more than Drake. Drake didn't even release an album, but still. Um, I was just like, "Fuck, man, everybody's been waiting for this album." People are gonna say shit just because it was 2.5 years, but just the way he breaks down the album into 3 different parts, he releases, like, the movie for it a week before, just created so much fucking hype for this album, and I don't know, the more I listen to it still, to this day, it gets better. Not to mention, he releases a deluxe the week later. Because one of the things I saw was people were like, "Yeah, like, all these songs are really good, but, like, where's all the leaks that were coming out and everything?" He put 6 leaks on the album, they sound great. He's got Bean with, um, Chief Keef, he's got Myron that he dropped that snippet in, like, summer 2018, just a ton of songs that we wanted to come out, and he actually came through and put them out. Released a whole second album a week later to boost his sales even more. He sold, like, 250K second week because of that second album, and I love every song on there too. If I had to pick, though, I'd pick the original Eternal Take, just I don't know, it's just that album hits different with the transitions. It's really an album. You could tell he hand selected, like, where he didn't just throw the songs together. He literally has transitions between the songs. Um, yeah, when I first listened to the album, I really liked the second half more, but now just those first 6 songs, they're just so hard hitting. And every couple weeks, I find another song on there where I'm like, this might be my favorite song. Like, my favorite song on that album switches all the time. And I don't know. I don't think there's a bad song on there, and Uzi's been killing his features in 2020. This is literally all you can ask for because the last 2 years with Uzi, 2018 suffering, 2019 suffering. We got like 2 songs. 2019, no, we got 3 because Futsal Shuffle came out in like December, but we got 2 songs from him in 2019 and 1 song in 2018. And then he releases 2 albums. It's like literally the best. It's like Christmas morning, literally. I don't know. This is I don't see anything topping this album for me. So by far my number one album, Eternal Take by Lil Uzi Vert.
Yeah, that's a good list. I really don't have any complaints with that. I think we're gonna have a lot of similar views as we if you're new to this.
As always. Well, that's why we have a podcast, man.
Yeah, you know that we have very similar views, so very good list.
Thank you,
Uh,
sir.
get into my honorable mentions. My first one, I have "Blame It on Baby," and this was this was a good album, but I found myself after the first like week or two of it coming out, I don't really go back to it unless it's like 2 or 3 songs. I definitely think Kirk is better, and I definitely think that "Baby on Baby" is
Agreed.
better. So, not a bad album by any stretch, but just a bit average in my opinion. But I
Mm,
think it deserves an honorable mention. Next, "Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon." Very good album. Obviously, you can't just throw this into your top 10 like you said. It's been
right.
4 days, but I can definitely tell as the year goes on, this is definitely gonna stick because I'm in love with this. Is all I've been playing. It's a very good album. And I have "The Smartest" by T Grizzly. I did a reaction to this album on my channel. If you guys didn't check it out, make sure you do. Really surprised me. His last album before this was not very good, but I've always been a decent T Grizzly fan. I think he's pretty underrated. Um, very good. He went 12 for 16 for me. There's no
Wow.
reason to complain. I really like this album. Next, we got PTSD by G Herbo. Now, if you asked me like 2 months ago, this album would probably be in my top 10. But again, the only songs I'm going back to are Intro, PTSD, and Lawyer Fees. Um, and PTSD is still a top 5 song of the year for me, so have to give G Herbo some love.
Hmm.
Now going into number 10. Bit of an interesting one. I feel like he's still not that known. But I'm gonna go "Pregame Rituals" by 2K Baby. Uh,
Okay.
this album, I didn't have any skips on it, and the main thing when I'm making a list right now, it's do I go back to it? because a lot of albums can sound good in the first few days, but you go back to it. I go back to this album a decent amount, and I think that 2K Baby deserves the love. Great voice, and just he. I like every song on the album, which makes it a top 10 album for me. Next we got Pain is Temporary by Bankroll Hayden. Now this one is super surprising. I didn't just like every song on this album. I loved every song on this album. I was very surprised because he's one of those guys from like TikTok. Just I did not know what to expect about this album, but I also did a reaction on this one, and this one is fantastic. I like every song. The one with Polo G is great. Uh, he has so many good songs, and he goes from like slow, and then he has his fast pace, and then he has his like slower songs that kind of remind me of like old X, like 17 type vibes. So I really like that album a lot, and I go back to that a lot. And that just got released probably about a week and a half ago, which
Mhm.
is still in my rotation. At number 8, we got Wanna by Gunna. No complaints here. Solid Gunna album. Uh, Definitely wasn't his best, but definitely wasn't his worst. It was a really good album.
For sure.
I would say no bad songs. That's very hard to do when you're Gunna. But yeah, number 8, I still go back to this album a decent amount, so I enjoyed it. Number 7, we got Artist 2.0 by A Boogie with a Hoodie. Me and My Guitar is by far my favorite song on this album. And I just remember, just like, obviously this came out when I was in college, and when this came out, every time I walked to a class or something, I played this album. So much nostalgia with it already, and just a very good song. And I think like you shouldn't really consider the deluxe when looking at the actual album. Like I know the deluxe was bad, but I'm not gonna let it taint my vision. If we're talking about the actual album, I thought this album was very, very good.
Hmm.
So that's very good from A Boogie. Number 6, again, I don't know if we classify it as an album, but Dark Lane demo tapes. I'm not the biggest Drake fan. I don't hate on him on any means. I just don't listen to a lot of his music anymore. I still go back to this album almost every other day, just because of songs like Chicago Freestyle, From Florida with Love, D4L with Thug and Future, uh, obviously War, and just like
I
he,
really like the way he played on like the British
yeah,
rap style. He killed it on that song.
yeah, for sure. I like a lot of this song, and also Pain. I said it from the first time I listened to it. I told everyone, I'm like, chill, chill. It's a good Cardi verse. Is it old Cardi? No. Is it amazing? No. It's good. It fit the song. It was fine. Still a big fan of that song. So even though I'm not the biggest Drake fan, he's got me a little excited for his next actual album, because I loved so many songs on this one. Number 5, we got My Turn by Lil Baby. I thought this was for sure better than Gunna. Um, that's why Gunna's at number 8 and he's at number 5. Just emotionally scarred, and just I really love that song, to be honest. And then obviously Heating Up for me is one of my favorites. And then the deluxe was good, a very good album. And I think like you can't really argue Lil Baby's top 3 this year, no matter what features, everything included. He's
Yeah,
he's definitely separated himself from being that teen mumble rapper to like he's an actual like he's kind of getting lyrical recently, which is very
yeah.
nice, and he's making it sound good. So Lil Baby just took himself to new heights on this one, and I really enjoyed it. Number 4, Meet the Woo 2. Uh, I love this album. I said it from the beginning. I said in my video when I did the Pop Smoke album review. I really liked Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon, but this album is by far his best.
Oh
Um,
yeah, for sure.
I liked it a lot better, and I'm still listening to this very frequently to this day. So for an album that came out months ago, uh, it holds a lot of replay value, and I think it's amazing. Number 3. Now the top 3, I'm sure you can kind of guess what it is. These 3 albums are the only 3 albums where, from when it dropped, and then like 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, this is all I'm playing. Like straight up, all I'm playing. Number 3, we got a little controversy here. I know a lot of people don't like him. Good Intentions by Nav. This is, I checked my Apple Music, whatever. This album is number 3 for me right now on most listened. I have n- I have no complaints. The deluxe was not good. Don't get me wrong. The regular album, the songs that I liked, it was not all hits, but the songs that I added, probably about like 10 of them or so, I love them, and I love Nev. I'm gonna say it. I love Nev. I think he did great. I
Brown
really,
boy.
I really, exactly, it fits. So, aside from the songs with features, which were very good, I really did like his solo songs, or for most of them, for the most part. And yeah, to be honest, before this year, I thought Nav was a decent artist. I was not a fanboy of him, but I was excited for this album, and this album is fantastic in my opinion. And then number 2, it's a tough one because I don't think I've listened to an album. Actually, number 1 and 2 I've listened to about equal, but I feel like if you gave me like a month or so, I think number 2 might take over number 1. But I got to give credit where credit's due. Number 2, I'm going the GOAT, Polo G. Since he released that album, for the most part, that's literally all I've been listening to. Um, I just love him. I literally know almost every word to every song now.
Hmm.
I love is an understatement. I think this is one of the best albums in the last 5 6 years. Um,
Yeah, I agree.
I've never listened to an album this much from someone so new. New. I don't mean like he's like just blown up, but fairly new, a couple years.
Hmm.
I I really really like this album. It's one of my favorite albums I've ever listened to. But that can't take away from the fact that Eternal Atake is
Let's go, baby.
um just for some
And
backstory.
you and
Yeah.
you weren't the biggest Uzi fan.
No. So I never hated Uzi. I actually always really liked Uzi, but I never like listened to him a lot on my own. I knew he was like really popular songs. I always thought he was a really good artist, but I never like actually dove deep into his music. When Eternal Atake dropped, literally for 2 months, every time I went in the shower, every time I went in the car, this is what was playing. Um, no misses. The first album is better than the deluxe, but the deluxe is still amazing. And like you said, this album has something weird to it. Every time you listen to it, you find a new favorite song. I don't understand why people are giving it so much hate in terms of like, oh,
Yeah.
it wasn't worth the wait. Take it for what it is. It's just take it as an album. Pretend you didn't have to wait for it. This is one of the best albums we've had in recent years, and that's coming from someone who doesn't love Lil Uzi. I love him now, but Uzi was always probably around like 8 to 10 in my rankings. It's definitely top 5 now, 100%. And I just don't understand why people would say it's not worth the wait. Like I don't know what you were expecting, but it was for sure worth the wait. I mean, I guess for me for sure because I wasn't like hyped.
Yeah.
The weeks before it came out, I was pretty hyped, but I was never like dwelling over it. But
Hmm.
yeah, that was the Go and Eternal Take are so close, but Eternal Take's been out for longer, so I got to give it number 1.
Yeah.
And like I
Um.
said, like if we recorded this a week later, I already know Juice WRLD's gonna make my top 3. I
Yeah,
hope at
dude.
least.
The post where they were talking about they played it for the label and like everybody was crying. I'm like,
Yeah,
fuck, man. I might actually like. I hope I shed some tears. You know, if
yeah,
it moves me to tears, that would be great. Because Juice World, I mean, for me, he's still a top 3 artist. I don't know. He's never made a bad song. I've never heard a Juice World song where I didn't almost love it. I'd say, because his songs just keep growing on you. Like the ones that you don't listen to a lot, like the more you listen to them, they just keep growing on you. And I think that's due to the fact that just he's such a talented just person in general. You know,
hmm
so much talent. Because he's majority of his songs are melodic, but the dude can freestyle for like an hour straight, and everything's just off the dome. I don't know. If you don't mind, a few albums that I like, I don't want to say I forgot, but like when Don Toliver's album came out, I really liked it. But the fact that I didn't include it in my like even honorable mentions just shows that an album like that just didn't have replay value. I don't know. Like it's kind of, I don't know how you feel about it, but like I really liked it when it came out, but now it's just like I kind of forgot about it
Yeah.
almost.
Um, I did want to say one thing, but first, regarding Don Toliver, I agree. I really liked the album when it came out. I really like him as an artist, but yeah, I don't go out of my way to listen to the album anymore.
Sure.
When it comes on my playlist, for sure I'm playing it. I'm loving it. But I just wanted to say something. We're talking about rap albums here. If we weren't talking about rap, if we were talking about just actual albums, The Weeknd's album would be top three for me.
I looked at because I just looked at albums that came out in 2020 and I saw the Weekends and I'm like he's not a rapper, but man, like that album was fantastic. You
Yeah,
know.
the Weeknd's album is actually my fourth most played of the year. So I didn't know where to rank that, but I just want to let you guys know.
Yeah.
If we were just talking straight up albums, The Weeknd would be top three, 100%. I wasn't even a Weeknd fan before. Like I knew him, I liked him a little bit. God, this I liked almost every song on this album. It was
Just
beautiful, but
such a great voice, such a beautiful album, like you just said. And no, Young Boy's album did not make my honorable mention.
no, we're
I
doing
don't
top
care.
five, top 10 best, not worst. It would have made
Okay,
it would have made like top
okay.
five worst.
Dude, I still haven't sat there and listened to Blueface's album. Like I tried to get through it. I stopped myself. Rich the Kid, I didn't even like. I don't think I played any of the songs from that album. And then Young Boys, I remember I'm like, this is pretty decent. Listen to it one time. I just had no ambition to go back to it. I'm like, I don't know, man. It's
Yeah.
just I forgot it came out. And I was just thinking about it when you were going off your list. I'm like, is there any albums we forgot about? I'm like, didn't Young Boy drop an album this year and like I already forgot about it? It's like and I'm a Young Boy fan, but it's just he's so hit or miss that it's like I don't know, man. I can't sit there and just listen to a Young Boy album. And I know you're not a fan.
Nope. Um, such a weird artist because I hate his, for the most part, I hate everything he releases, but I
Yeah.
love almost every feature. It's very weird.
I know because he sounds different on features. Just he switches his style. Like "Hate Me" on Trippy's album, he switches his flow. He kind of matches the other artists. Like he matches Lil Boat's energy on NBA YoungBoat. He matches Trippy's energy. He matches
Even on the
Juice
Doobies album.
World on Bandit. Yeah,
Yeah,
on Jump, he's
yeah.
good on that
I love
song.
that song.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's just very odd artist.
But yeah, that was our list. Let us know down below if we missed
Top
anything, or
10.
let us know your list. Check out my channel, Icy Swice, in the
Check
description
out his
below.
reactions.
I'll be having a reaction to Juice WRLD and all the other stuff that's coming out. Don't worry about that. But yeah, appreciate the support and thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, sub, and share. And without further ado, stay strapped so we can wrap it up for you. That was not very good, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good night. I don't know where I'm going with that, but peace.